Okay, so another thing I want, it's like, yeah, whenever I wait for videos to upload and, record, I always think about what I'd like to say next, and I write these things down, which is what I'm staring at. But anyway, yeah, I was basically saying, this just, these colleges, there are alternatives. There are alternatives to actually going to college and having someone give you the information. You can teach yourself. There are some really good online courses. But the reason why I say this with a lot of reservation is that people have this idea that they can buy skills. It's like buying equipment. You go out and you buy a pencil so you can draw. You buy a pen so you can draw. You go and buy a Cintiq, a Wacom Cintiq. My God, like I tell you, I made that mistake. Well, I mean, it's like I had the thought that once I bought a Wacom Cintiq that, all my drawing problems would be over and I can suddenly paint and draw digitally and everything would be great. And really, it was only the beginning of my problems when I got a Cintiq. And it's only after many years that the Cintiq and I have gradually grown to understand each other. Yeah, it's not like you can just buy your problems away. You can't just throw money at a problem to make it go away. And when I see people taking college courses and when I see them, buying really expensive training videos or training programs, some of these are upwards of like $500, $600 online, they're throwing money at the problem. Now, when I say that they are throwing, I don't say that all of them are. A lot of people aren't. 1 out of 16 people aren't. 1 to 2 out of 16 people are not throwing money at the problem when they do this. They are the people who have that chance. But this video is for the other 14 to 15 people that are just throwing money at the problem because they want to get good at art. They want to invest, their hard-earned cash in it, or their parents' hard-earned cash, or they're going to take a loan and invest someone else's hard-earned cash into, making this problem of not being able to draw go away. So you're not buying skills. Then maybe it's a diploma. Some people, they figure, well, a diploma is a nice thing to put on your resume. Once I get that diploma, my problems are solved. I can go to work for a company and say, here's my paper, here are my qualifications, you can hire me. And works for a doctor, works for a lawyer, These are, financial advisors. These are things where you do need a diploma. You can't get a job without a diploma if you're going to be one of these things. Art, however, does not follow the same rules. Art jobs, they don't. The only people who really care about diplomas, even though I've read the job postings, for these video game companies. I've read the job postings for these visual effects companies, and they ask for certain qualifications and degrees, and you know what? They're meaningless. I was never hired for my degrees. I was hired for my work experience. I was hired because I demonstrated that. My first job, I was hired because I could demonstrate that I was useful. I demonstrated usefulness. Back when I was in the International Academy of Design, this is like 99, 2000. No, not, yeah, hang on. Yeah, 99, 2000. Jeez, so long ago. When I was in college, we worked on Silicon graphics workstations, and I was one of the I was just another student, but during the night shift, I was also a system administrator, which means that I knew Unix. I knew how to program. I was also one of the few people that understood particle effects. That means like trying to simulate smoke and fire and insects and that kind of thing. It's very computationally heavy, and it requires a good, programming mindset. I was one of the few students who knew that. Hell, I don't think I even got in because of my demo reel. When I think about my demo reel, I can't possibly imagine why they'd want that. But I knew Unix. I knew how to work these strange beasts, these Silicon graphics workstations, which were 10 grand at the time. It was not possible to do this kind of work on your home computer. Now you can. Home computers have become so much more powerful. They're faster than anything we had back then. Back in the days of Jurassic Park and The Abyss and all those whatever, when ILM was at the forefront, these machines were not something that you could have. That's why college was good for me. That's why I went to college. It was to gain access to this kind of machine, because I could not have it in my own house. Nowadays, for visual effects, you can, for a fraction of the cost, for, $1,000, sometimes less, you can get a very good machine for visual effects. See what I mean? It's like, when I was in college, though, with these strange machines, I was able to demonstrate usefulness. I was able to demonstrate, hey, I'm the guy who's working the night shift. When there were other teachers there who worked in the industry, I was able to help them solve their problems. I was able to help them create their accounts, deal with all their IT problems. And they would ask me about particle effects. I knew particle effects. I would create a lot of scripts on the fly. I was able to demonstrate usefulness. It was not my diploma, that got me my job. It was nice that I had exposure and contact with those teachers, though, who were also people in the industry. That was good too. I couldn't have done it without that. But you're not buying a diploma. You're not buying a list of qualifications. The only people who care about qualifications and diplomas are HR staff, and I hate HR people, because they are bean counters. They're just accountants. They're just people who look at paper, and there are other ways into a business, into visual effects. There are other ways into an art business, and that is through word of mouth, through your portfolio, through exposure. But there's no sense in getting exposure if your portfolio or if your own skills are not up to par. If the worst thing that can happen is you'll probably just generate a bad impression for yourself. But on the flip side, they may just simply forget you, which is a good thing. It's whenever I see portfolios, a lot of times when I see portfolios, they contain what I call dead art. And dead art is when they've spent, 5, 6, 7 hours, or even 5, 6, 7 days on a piece. You don't have 5, 6, 7 days, to work on things, in the industry when you're doing, video game artwork. You don't have that time. It's dead art in the sense that they did it, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and they only have like 3 or 4 pieces. They're not shown as a living artist, meaning that they're putting things out on a regular basis, at least on a weekly basis. And it's new, it's hip, it's great, it's cool, and it's consistent. This is what companies need and then look for. You can't get a job any other way. Like it's not about the diploma. And you can't fake that. You can't fake it. And even if you did fake it and you managed to get an interview, you'll be revealed very quickly. So, you're not just buying. You don't, when you go to school, you don't just buy a diploma. The other problem is that these people who buy into schools and colleges, I see a lot of people wasting time. When I was working as a live college instructor, there were just so many people playing Team Fortress 2, playing Unreal Tournament. All of these people were just gaming. They're paying tens of thousands of dollars. I could not understand it. People who are just spending their time on a laptop on YouTube. By the way, if you're watching this during class, you better shut this thing off, because you don't realize that your time is really precious, and it's precious in a monetary sense. You're going to be going out into the world with a huge college debt. You don't want to fuck around. You're on the clock, and the sooner you get serious about working in the industry, the sooner you kind of buckle down and take the shit seriously, the better off you will be. But 14 to 15 people weren't like that. So yeah, that's a lot of the reasons of why very few people do. They either don't take it seriously, or they expect that when you pay the money that someone's going to come along and fix the problem for you, like when you pay a plumber to come by and unclog your toilet. Going to any kind of art education is not like that. It's a lot of it's not even just hard work and toil. It's also, you have to know what you want. You have to find your path, and you have to fight to stay on the path And even if it means, you know, getting out of your comfort zone, improving always requires that you get out of your comfort zone. Shit, when I see a lot of times, you know, like I recently signed up for an account on CG Hub and was just completely blown away by the level of quality consistently between artists, and it's very humbling. And you know, I would see some artists who are younger than I am doing way better art than I am, and it's crushing. It's crushing to see that. But at the same time, I became very desperate, and I really, you know, I would study their work and just obsess about it and try and figure out, you know, what are they doing that I'm not doing? What do they know that I don't know? What do they research? What are their influences? And you know, can I draw like them? You know, you need that kind of hunger. Anyway, we're out of time.